What's going on, guys? This is Resurrected Mods. I just had recorded this video and I realized the frame that I was using to surround my head was blocking a lot of the content that I went over. So here's a redo. Um, yeah, so today's going to be another Raid Shadow Legends helper video. First off, I want to bring you guys attention to over here. If you click on your name and you go to options and you scroll down to miscellaneous and you turn off disable camera shake and battle, that will turn off all of the action that you see where it zooms in on your people attacking and all that stuff, which is great, especially if you're trying to auto something and you just want to click on a specific champion to target. It makes it really difficult to do that when it's doing all that camera shaking and zooming in and whatnot. Oftentimes you click on the wrong champion and you end up failing the run. Um, so that's going to help a lot of people. Um, for me personally, it's not going to help me necessarily. Maybe it would just be better aesthetically. I don't like when it does all that stuff. I think that's just a lot of extra stuff that doesn't need to happen. So I turn that off for that reason. But I know a lot of people do try to click on certain people when it's autoing, and they end up getting screwed over because it doesn't work. So if we go in to the Raid Shadow Legends helper, this is where I'm going to spend the whole entire video on. The first thing I want to talk about is the start time. I realized on the last video I didn't really do a very good job at explaining this. So what you want to do is you want to go into the game, wherever you want to farm, whether it be dragon, spider, or whatever, and you click on the level that you want to farm. So for example, I want to farm stage 25, and it is 4:50, about to be 5 o'clock. And let's say I'm going to go out to eat with some friends, and I just wanted to farm dragon while I'm away. So you go in here and you check start time, and you come in here, and this is military time. So just so you guys know, this is 12, this is lunchtime, and then this is 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I want 5 on the dot. Here you go, 5 o'clock, and you hit the check mark, so 1700, and then you type in the number of runs that you want to do. I'm just putting 300 in here, for example, and then you hit start. And you have to leave it on this page. You can't go back to your home page or whatever. You have to leave it on this home page. And once 5 o'clock comes around, it might be a little bit late, like a minute or so late, but right at 5, 5:01, 5:02, whatever it is, it will start to run, and it will continue to run until you stop it or until it completes however many battles you want. So that's how to use that. I didn't do a very good job explaining that. It's really nice, especially like doing CBC. Um, if you know that CBC is going to start at like 3 o'clock in the morning for your time, and you want to save some dungeon runs for CBC, you can go in and you can set it for 3 o'clock in the morning, which would be 3 o'clock in the morning, and you hit start, and then you set the number of runs and you hit start, and then you're going to wake up with CBC going on, and you're going to already have points because you're running dungeons. And there's a lot of different things for that, right? You can use that during events and whatnot. But yeah, so that leads me to my next point, which is events. I didn't do a very good job explaining this one too, but I'm going to go into tournaments, and I think there's a spider tournament going on. Oh, dragon tournament. Okay. So there's a dragon tournament going on. So you go in here, and these are the rewards that you're going to get once my screen loads. Um, so you got books, chickens, whatever. This is especially good for fragment events. Like let's say the 2050 was the fragment event champion, right? You go in here and you go into Raid Shadow Legends Helper and you go into Event Tracker, and let's see, where is Dragon? Okay, so here's Dragon. Whoops. So you click on dragon, right? And let's say this was the one that you want. So you highlight this, you select it, okay? See how it's green? Then you go back and auto click it. You see how many target event points it has? And then all you gotta do is hit start, and it will run until it gets those target events. Once it's done, it will stop, and then you can go to the next thing. So that's how you use that, and that works for everything, right? Like if you're gonna do um, this get artifacts event, right? This is like farming any type of dungeons. You would go in here, and let's say this was the fragment event champion. You click on it, and then you select this over here, and then you go into auto clicker, and it's bugging out. Let's select something different. There we go. And it's still bugging out. Okay. Maybe February 3rd. Okay. I'm not sure why it's bugging out. Typically it doesn't do that. But again, you just go in, you select it, you go in auto click it, and there it is, and you just hit start and let it run, and you will end up with the points that you need. Sometimes you'll end up with a couple of points more. But yeah, you'll get the target event points, and then you can move on to the next thing. So that's how you use that. The next thing I want to talk about is the multi-level XP. It's pretty straightforward, but I just want to talk about it for a couple of seconds. I'm sorry if my face is blocking this. It's not letting me move it, so I can't move that. But as you can see here, I have 178 three-star champion to select. Let's just do 150, and you hit auto select, and it's going to select three-star champion. Now this will be any three-star champion. It can be a common that you ranked up to level 3, it can be an uncommon that you ranked up to level 3, or it can be rares. It's whatever it decides to pick from. Unless you want to go through and you specifically select champions, like that, then those are the champions that you want to use. Now, if you want to unselect them instead of going through and unselecting every single one, you just leave it at 0 and you hit auto select, and it will unselect every single one of them. I talked about the champion level limit. This is really good, especially when you're doing the champion training events, and you don't need 178 level 3 champs ranked or leveled up all the way to level 30. You just go in here and you hit use level limit, and it will take them to that level. You can change that level, although I'm going to say this is a pretty good level limit for your champions. It's pretty good ratio for energy use and the level. So I would just leave that like it is, but you can always change it if you want to. And that's how you do that. So then you just back out, and then you just hit start on multi-level XP. Then it would run through, unselect the champs, select new champ, take them to the certain level that you want, and then it would just continuously go on. The next thing I want to talk about is tools. Over here where you have the bundle calculator, as you see, it's already calculated one of the bundles. Now you can manually type in a bundle, or you can go into the shop and you can go over to the specific bundle that you want to calculate, and it will automatically input it for you. I don't know why it's bugging out, but it is. So there's that. If you wanted to select something else, it doesn't calculate these because it doesn't have the demon keys, or the not the demon, yeah, the demon lord key. It will calculate this. So as you see there, it's a good offer. It will calculate that, and it will not. Whoops, I backed out. It will not calculate sets. It won't do that. It only does shards. Anything that is in here, it will calculate. But that's how you use that. That's a pretty cool tool. The other thing is the clan boss loot. As long as you have the Raid Shadow Legends helper tool opened up and you collect your loot for clan boss, it will keep track of that. Um, I personally don't care, but a lot of people do. So as long as you keep it opened up, it will keep track of the shards and everything else that you get for your clan boss loot. Now I want to go into the let's see, inventory. So I'm gonna start off with this before I get into the cell file. So as you guys know, I showed the auto cell, and that only follows the rules that you set in your cell file. So you would have to go through and you would have to set specific rules that you want to follow. So with that being said, you can also use this for other reasons. I like to use it for gear cleanses. For example, if you go in here and you set, let's say I want to find any gear that double rolled in the flat HP or attack. So as you can see here, we rolled a double roll into flat attack, and that's a piece of gear that I'm probably not going to want to keep. So I would select that and I would add selected item to the cell list. And then you just got to go through and you click cell and then you hit add it again and it will add it. Same goes for defense or anything that you want to keep track of. Let's do triple rolls, nothing, and then quad rolls, nothing. Okay, so another thing that you could use this for, let's do include equipped items. I don't have any on this account, but let's say you had a quad roll on a flat HP, right? Instead of selling that, you could use this to find it, and then you would go through, and then you would use a chaos ore. Once my thing loads, you go into rework and you use a chaos ore to rework it, and hopefully you get a quad roll on a substat that will actually make a difference for your account. This account doesn't have any of those, so I can't show you that, unfortunately. But like, let's say if you wanted to build your speed champion, you could go in and you could find gear that have quad speeds or triple speeds. And then you could go through, and the same goes for any stat. You can find anything that you want. I mainly use it, like I said, for finding flat HP, and let's take off that, or flat attack, like that. And I would definitely sell that one once this video is over. So now let's go into the sell options list. Now, this has a lot of rules because this is what I want from my account. Not every account is going to be the same. You would definitely have to understand what you are doing and what you want to do with your account to build a sell file. I have several sell files that I will have in my Discord. Unfortunately, I can't post these on YouTube as I said I would on the last video, but the link to my Discord will be down below and you guys can join, and I will make sure that these are pinned. The mid game is like mid game, and then the mid to late game is transitioning from mid to late game. And then the updated in-game file is something that I've just kind of played with. And then Andrew's sell list file, that's if you want to follow mine. It's pretty hard. I will say it hardly ever keeps 5-star gear. It's going to be looking for 6-star legendary gear, and occasionally it will keep 6-star epic gear if it has certain substats and it falls under a certain gear set. So, but yeah, this is pretty extensive as far as what I'm keeping and what I'm selling. But yeah, I will make sure that these are posted in the Discord. But I want to show you guys how to do a check on something. Let's say I want a destroy, and let's just say it's a weapon, and then it's a 5-star epic, with accuracy. Oh, I messed up. Accuracy, resist, and crit damage. We're going to sell check, and it's going to tell you what item it found to sell. So it says it found 101, so that destroy, less than 6 star, less than epic, it sells. Maybe this is something on your account that you want to keep. I'm not sure why you would want to keep it, but let's say it is something that you wanted to keep. You could just scroll up to wherever you want, or you could do it right there at 101, and then instead of adding a rule and making a rule completely from scratch, what you would do is weapon, helmet, shield, and we want less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to 5 star, and greater than equal to epic with that. And then let's say as long as it has accuracy and resist, let's and we want to keep, and we insert, and now let's try it. And it's not finding it for whatever reason. Oh, because it's not the right priority. That's why. So as you can see here, priority matters. That was a dumb mistake on my part. But yeah, priority matters. So you hit sell check, and it's saying it's keeping it. I obviously don't want to keep that, so I'm going to delete that rule. But that's how you add a rule. And I would definitely hit insert rather than add. If you hit add, it will take it and it will add it all the way at the bottom of the screen. So that's how you do that. Now, let's say you're like me and you see Savage and Fatal and Killstroke and whatnot. Let's say you want them to follow the same rules. All you got to do is make one rule. Let's see Savage, and then you would just come up here and you would change it to whatever you want. And let's just do Guardian, for example, and you hit insert. And now you have the same rule, but with a different set. I'm going to delete that. But that's what I did with all of these. I made rules for Savage, and then I went through and I copied them and I just changed the artifact set. And I hit insert, and now that I'm keeping all of those. Another thing is these are and rules instead of or rules. So what I mean by that is if we look at this one, for example, 6 star, greater than or equal to epic, with crit damage and crit rate, it's going to keep. That's not crit damage or crit rate. If you wanted to make an or rule, you have to make two separate rules. For example, I would have to take crit rate off of this one, and then I would have to leave just crit damage, and then I would have to insert a rule and make crit rate and crit damage. So there would have to be two separate rules for it to be able to follow that. Now these are main stats, so I'm mainly talking about substat. But like if the substats were crit rate and crit damage, it would be crit rate and crit damage. But if you just wanted to say or, you would have to create a separate one. That's something that I've figured out as I've gone along. There have been a lot of times where I wanted it to follow an or rule, and I kept putting it in the same rule, and I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. And then I finally figured it out. You have to make separate rules if you want an or rule, meaning let's say you have a speed set and you want it to keep it if it has speed or accuracy, or better yet, let's do perception, because perception is better known for accuracy. Instead of doing speed and accuracy in the same rule, you would need to do speed in one rule and then accuracy in another rule. If you did it in the same rule, it would only keep the gear that had speed and accuracy in the same piece of gear. Whereas if you made two separate rules, it might have speed, crit rate, crit damage, but it's still going to keep it because it has speed. Or it might have accuracy, crit rate, crit damage, and it's still going to keep it because it has accuracy. So if you want the or rule, you have to make two separate rules. That's been a big learning curve for me. I'm trying to think of what else. Think I've covered it. I'm not going to go through here and do every specific rule because a lot of this depends on your account and where you're at in the game. But yeah, join the Discord. We got a bunch of helpful people in there. I'm always willing to help tweak a cell file rule for you. Not do it for you, but I'm willing to help you. That way you can have a better cell file for your account to progress in game. I typically like to build these files not for the gear that I have now, but for the gear that I'm trying to get. Um, and this one's a little bit of both. So it's going to sell some of the gear that I have now, but it's also going to sell and keep some of the gear that I get in the future for how I want to progress my account. And that's how I would do it for your account. But yeah, I'm sure I've missed something. I always miss something. And when I realize what I missed, I will probably be making another video because this tool is just so helpful. It can really improve somebody's game, especially if you use it to its full ability. Like I'm showing you guys in this video. It can really improve your gaming experience on Raid Shadow Legend. Um, but yeah, I hope this helps you guys get a better grasp at this tool, and I hope it helps you progress in your account. And I will see you guys on the next video.